Okay, good morning. Glad to see everybody here. So today we're going to talk about creating a CMA. And what's a CMA? It's a comparative market analysis, also known as a comparable market analysis. And what this is pretty much a valuation of somebody's home or somebody's property. Not necessarily a home, it could be a commercial property, be residential, could be land. So what we do is we typically use similar properties that have recently sold, and we compare them to what the subject property is and come up with the price based on that. So what we're gonna do is, I have a list here of things that we're gonna need. And because we're usually gonna create a CMA for a listing presentation, there's some things that we're gonna require. And the first thing is to obtain a property profile. You can get this from the title company. And why do we obtain a property profile? Well, we want to know that the people that we're speaking to, that we're going to have a listing appointment with and sit down and discuss this information with, are the actual owners and decision makers and the signers for the contract, for the property. So obtain a property profile, contact Mary and a lawyer's title. She can send over a property profile. And if you're still not clear as to what the owners' names are, maybe there's more than one owner, you can ask her to clarify for you and say, hey, who's on title here? Who are the owners of the property? And she'll simplify that for you. Now that you know who the owners of the property on title are, when you schedule your appointment, your listing appointment, you can make sure to let them know that you would like to have all the decision makers there, or are all the signers or owners going to be there at the listing appointment. Another thing you want to do is log into the MLS and pull up the realist property tax report. So let me go back here. So when you're in the MLS, you're going to click on realist tax. It's going to take you here and simply click on search up here at the top and type in the property address. This will pull up. I'm not going to pull it up. I usually pull up the tax records, but this owner's information and their mailing address, I don't want to do that. So for this class, I'm just going to say we're going to type in the property address. We're going to get the owner's name. And then what you want to do is you want to compare this to the title profile, the property profile. Sometimes, most likely, they're going to have the same owner's names, but sometimes they're going to have different names. And if they have different names, it's because maybe they moved it over their trust. So now it's under the trust name, and then the tax records show the owner's names as individuals. So this is something, if you see different names, you want to clarify what title to say, hey, which ones are the actual owners or whose name is it under? So that's why we need this information, okay? The next thing we're gonna do is, for this particular property, I picked a property close to here, to the office, and we wanna look in the MLS to see if it's ever been listed or sold, because that's gonna get us some information on the property. So in this case, because it's a sale, I can type in the address up here. I'm looking at 3501 Lotus. And it's only been in the MLS one time. And it was sold in 2018. 2018. So what I like to do is I also like to print this out. So I click on the MLS ID. There's pictures of the property. And take a look and see what the property looks like. Probably doesn't look like that now. Maybe it does, who knows, but at least you have an idea. Bedrooms, baths, square footage, lot size, how many levels, how many garage spaces there are, so forth, when it was built. So this is going to help you look for similar properties to compare it to. And we're going to notice down here that it's in the Walnut area in College Park subdivision. This is actually where Holden Farms. It's a pretty good area to find comps because there's always things selling there and they're all similar properties. So now what we're going to do, now that we have all this information, we know who the owners are. We pulled up a previous listing in the MLS. We know the characteristics of the property. Now we're going to do a search. Let me see if that's what I have here on my sheet. Yeah, don't even need to look at that. All right, so we're going to go to search at the top, residential detail. I want to look at anything that's active, active under contract, pending and closed. And since this is a single family residence, we're gonna do SFR down here. I don't think I need to select this anyways, because in this neighborhood, they're all single families, no condos. But just to make sure, we'll just do that. And property attached, no. So I'm done on the left column. Now the center column, Orange County. And then Irvine. And so what I like to do is, most of the times people enter the area here. I'm not gonna enter the area because sometimes there are listings that eventually become sales. They're listed by agents from outside the area. And when they enter the listing into the MLS, they don't label it correctly. So it might be in that neighborhood, and if you select the area here, you might miss out on it because the agent mislabeled it. So I'm not gonna use this, but this is something you can use if you wanna use it. So like here, I would type in Walnut, right? Actually, it's not gonna come up, so I have to select it from the list. So I would select Walnut, and then you can go even a step further, and this is in College Park, then you would select College Park. But I'm not gonna do that. So just showing your options there. What I'm going to do instead is, I'm gonna say I wanna go within, let's do 1 mile, yeah, of the property address, which is 3501 Lotus. And then when the street comes up, make sure, oh no, that's not what I want. Okay, when the street comes up, select it. Don't just ignore it, make sure you select it, because that's how it's gonna know. So now it's plotted on the map. We don't see it yet, but you'll see in a second. And then I want to compare it to any homes that were sold or are listed that have 4 bedrooms. And the square footage for this property is 2410. So what I like to do is go a couple hundred square feet less and a couple hundred square feet more to get a little more similar type property. So under living area, I'm gonna say, I don't know, 2200 to 2600. So 2650. So there's 5 matches right now. You guys see at the bottom here? 5 matches. I'm gonna click on map so I can see where those properties are located on the map. And see these out here, they're outside the area, so I'm just gonna make, if you hover over this outline of the circle and click and drag in, you can make the area smaller. And then I know the area, so I know that College Park is only, it's on the left side of Walnut, this Walnut Street here, so it's all this over here. So what I can do is I can then use the polygon tool, and I'm gonna select, because I know the area, that's the only reason I'm doing this, but if you don't know the area, you probably don't wanna do this. So click there. And I only want homes here. And then I'm gonna get rid of this shape, this, oh, damn it, that's the wrong one. Let's leave the shape here. Come on. So, I'm sorry about this, let me close this. Polygon tool again. And I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna close it off. So now it's only gonna give me comparable properties in this neighborhood. If I would have typed in Walnut, College Park, maybe these wouldn't show up, maybe they will, but this way I know I have exactly the properties I'm looking for, the comps I'm looking for. So now that it gave me 2 comps, and let's go back to criteria really quick. When you click on closed, select closed, it automatically goes back 180 days. If you don't get enough comps, you can go back a year. Or you can go out a little bit further to the next track, you know, look for homes that are similar, because I know the track next to a colony has similar homes and they're priced similarly too. But there's 2 comps here, so let's just see what they what they look like. I'm gonna click on results. And they're both sold, so that's good. They're both 4 bedrooms, 2.5, 3 baths, 2,300 square feet, 2,350, 2,277. That's pretty close to what this property is. And we might take it a step further and look at this one. Let me see if it has a specific model name. I don't see a model for this one. But usually if it's a model match, it's gonna be the exact square footage. This one's 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, 2,410 square feet. But let's take a look at these. All right, 2-story, lot size is 5,000, our lot size is 6,450. Our home's a little bigger than this. Let's see, let's go to the next one. Now let's look inside. Looks pretty clean. It's got older kitchen cabinets. It's got carpet. Oh yeah, it's got carpet. Okay. So this one was listed at $1,598,000 and sold for $1,630,000. All right, so that's what this is up here. Left is the list price, right is the sold price. Let's look at the next one. This one's much better. I'm not good with styles, but I would say this is contemporary. Is that right? Okay. All right. Oh, this is much nicer. Let's see what this one sold for. Sold for more, $1,765,000. So these are some pretty good comps, and the lot is smaller on this one, and living space is smaller as well. So I think this is going to be the benchmark here. This is what we can use as a comp. And when did this sell? This sold. It sold in November. When did the other one sell? That's going to make a big difference on when they sold. This one sold in December, so similarly close. If this one would have sold last month, this would be the most recent comp, and that would tell us that the market could be declining in that neighborhood, but no, we can use these as comps. So sometimes you're going to get 6, 7, 8, 10 comps. You're going to have actives, pendings, and solds. In this case, we only have solds. So we can use this. Let me go back to the list, the agent 1 line display. All right, so I'm happy with these comps. I'm going to use them. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of them. If you had 10 of them and you only wanted to use 4, 5, or 6 of them, you would just select the ones that you want to use. And then at the bottom here, you're going to click on Cloud CMA. When you click on Cloud CMA, it's going to take you to the Cloud CMA, I guess, third-party service. So the first time you do that, it's going to have you create a login. It's going to have you upload your photo, your company logo, add your contact information, and so forth. So after you do that, then you go back again to the MLS, click on Cloud CMA again, and then it'll take you to this screen here. So in this case, this is only to label under title. This is only to label the CMA so I can find it at a later time. So I'm going to say this is, I'm going to label it the property address name. So 3501 Lotus. Perfect. And I'm going to enter the address again here. When I do that, it should find the property here, and I select it from the list. And then it pulls through the characteristics of the property. It's supposed to pull through. There you go. Why is it 3 bedrooms, 2 baths? Interesting. We picked a good one. Let's go back here.
Yeah, let's go show the agent.
Yeah, but let's see what the tax records show. Tax records show 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. That's interesting. This one, in a situation like this, you might have to check to see that they have permits, and if it's been recorded, any of the work's been recorded. So I'm gonna say I checked everything, they showed me permits, everything's good. We're gonna say that's 4 bedrooms, not that many bedrooms, 4 bedrooms. And I don't think it lets us do half, does it? Yeah, okay. And I'm gonna scroll down, you're gonna see these are the 2 listings that it's pulling from the MLS to add to the report. You don't have to do anything else, you can add a photo if you have a photo of the property. I don't, so I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna click on fetch listings. And what it's doing now is pulling the information on those 2 listings from the MLS to add to the report. So instead of the photo, it's gonna show this little map on the cover page of the CMA, which is pretty cool because it shows you the area, it's personalized. And then this first space here is if you have a suggested list price. I would never type in a price here. I would, what you wanna do is when you're sitting down with the owners of the property, show them the information, the evidence, and, you know, your research, and then ask them, is there a price you had in mind? What would you like to know, knowing this now, seeing this information, how would you like to list your home? And most of the time, they're gonna say, I don't know, what do you think? Sometimes they're gonna have a price in mind because they either saw they went on Zillow and Zillow said, this is how much your home is worth. Or maybe they're looking at the postcards that another realtor is sending on the recent sales and they think, hey, that sold for that, I think my home can sell for that. So sometimes they'll have a price in mind, so you don't wanna offend them. First, you wanna hear what they have in mind. If they, whatever number they come up with, if it's close to your number, you can say, hey, that's pretty good because that's close to what I had in mind. Or if they're way off, you can tell them why, right? They might be way off either on the low side or on the high side, on the high side. So if they're way off on the low side, you can say, hey, good news. I think your home's worth more. We could probably get you more money for it. Or if it's too high, you can show them pictures, just like we saw the pictures there with that we're gonna include in this report, and I'll show you in a second. Look at all the upgrades that this property has. Yours is original. That's why they were able to command so much money for it. And it sold so fast, right? So for now, we're not gonna add a price. Again, if you want to, you can do that, or you can do a range, it's up to you. But I'm not gonna do anything to this page. I'm just gonna go to customize report. Oh. Should take this long. It's only two listings. Okay, so now on the customization portion of this, the first time you set this up or get to this page, it's gonna include all these pages here. All these pages here is what's gonna be included in the report. It's gonna include everything here. It's on the left. And then, so after you look at it, after you've published it, I guess there's a publish button or something to somewhere down here. So yeah, publish report. It's gonna give you a PDF of all of these pages up here on top. And then these down here, or if you pay, I guess, a fee, you can include all these other pages, but I've already gone through it and I've decided which pages I want to keep in my report and which ones I don't want. So I've excluded a lot of pages. And my report only consists of these pages here. So that being said, I'm going to click on publish report. While we're waiting for that, you can change the theme, click on theme, and then there's different colors that you can pick from, like color schemes. Mine is black and blue, there's like, I don't know, red and black, there's yellow and blue, there's all sorts of different colors. I like to use the black and blue. And then layout, there's different layouts that you can select for the properties, like you can have three properties on the page or 2 properties on the page when it's showing the comps and the comparisons. There's some pages that you can personalize too. You can add like a introduction letter, cover letter. You have to go in and type out your personal letter, agent resume, personalize that, customize that. My recent sales, that's something you can customize. And then our company, you can go in and write something about the company. I just like to make it as simple as possible. I don't want to give them a book to read. Here's the comparable properties, here's the reports, here's the average price per square foot, here's the average days on market, here's all this information, right? Just what they want to know. And then maybe I'll have a separate report about me, about the company, but just a couple of pages, nothing too crazy. Or we can insert them into the presentation here. So here's the report, it's ready. I'm going to click on view PDF. And this is what it looks like. Where's the picture? Come on. There's usually a map here. It's probably still loading, but there should be a picture of the map with the property pinned on it. And it's got my information, my contact information, beginning. It's got the map of the properties. Summary of the comparable properties. It has the average square footage, average sold price, average price per square foot. And now the listings themselves. This is what you want to show. Make sure that when you select the reports, you select the ones that have all the photos. You print all the photos because that's going to help during your presentation. So this property shows that it was sold for this much, this many beds, baths, square footage, days on market. 19. So for more information on the property, the description, and then all the photos on it. So this is good for when you're showing the owner of the property, so they can compare it. And then here's this other one, same thing, information on the property, sold price, beds, baths, square footage, and the photos of the property. And then now the analysis. Average price per square foot, average days on market, and then the average sold price. So one thing you can do is use the average price per square foot times the square footage and come up with the list price that way. I like to just go based on the last sales price, the highest sale price, depending on the condition of the property, right? But you can't go in already knowing what you want to list it at, not seeing the property yet. So you should already have an idea of the range that you want to list it at. Let's say this one, I want to list between, it could be between these 2 numbers, actually. Between this number and this number. Let's see what condition the property's in. If the property's in worse condition, then we're going to price it towards the lower end of the spectrum. If the property's in great condition, we're going to price it just like the last one, right? Or maybe even a little bit higher. You don't want to overprice it because it's going to stay on the market longer, and so forth. But let's see what that would be here, based on price per square foot. So if we do 734 times, what did we say it was? 2410. Then the list price would be $1,768,000. So we would price it, this would be priced higher than the last sale, right? Just by a little bit. It's a bigger home, so. And they got 0.17% over, or 100.17% over the list price on average, and then average days on market is 15. So when you're sitting down with your with the sellers of the home, and we're going to have a class on the listing presentation, This is something you can talk to the sellers about. If we price it right, you should expect to, have it in escrow within 15 days. Average price per square foot. So something else I like to include along with this is the Zestimate. Right here. Go to Zillow and look at how close your valuation is compared to theirs. Oh, wow, this is way off. So I would print this out and include it into the report and say, look, this is what Zillow says your property's worth. But I don't know where they came up with this number, because I think what they do is their algorithm or whatever it is, goes out 1 mile and just uses all the sales. It doesn't know how to discern, square footage or beds or baths or whatever, or detached. They just look 1 mile around the property. And you might come in and this is what they're expecting because they saw it on Zillow. So you have to already know going into it what they might be thinking. If we go back to the MLS, click on home. Actually, I have a tax record open. Wait, no. Yeah, right here. Oh, damn. I'll pull it up and I'll just whiz past the name. They're going to give you an ABR value of what it thinks the home is worth. Did I pass it up already? I think I did. This is for lease. How much it would lease for is what it thinks. Did I pass it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, here it is. So this is what this system thinks that it's worth. And I think this is still on the high side. But I don't know. I know there's some agents that go based on this. They list their properties based on this. I would do the research. Don't just, I think this is the lazy way of doing it. But at least you have a couple different numbers now, right? Of what these systems think that it's worth. But it's between this and this, I guess, right? So we're closer to this price here. Any questions on that? No? Okay, so another thing you can do is, let's go back to the MLS and go back to, you can create a CMA within the MLS. It's a little crappier, it's a little nut. It's a little more generic, sorry, a little more generic, but you still get all the same information. You click on CMA down here instead of Cloud CMA, you can click on CMA. Or another thing you can do is go to print. I believe it has a CMA option here. Quick CMA.
I like that.
And let's do that. And this is even less people. You just don't have the pictures, right? But this is something you can use if you just want to do something quick just to show the information. This has all the same information. Average square foot, average price per square foot, average sale price. You can do this. Another report that you can do is using Realtor Property Resource. So let's go back to the homepage of the MLS. And we're going to go to RPR right here, Realtor Property Resource. And again, this externals link might be on this side on your homepage. I have it on this side. So click on RPR. You might have to set this up the first time you log into it. I'm not sure. But let's say we want to do a CMA, so create a CMA. And the property address, 3501. Select it from the list. And look at what it thinks it's worth here.
I probably
Yeah.
got a lot in my
Yeah,
systems.
yeah. So let's scroll down and let's click on CMA right here. We'll even walk you through it like it's doing to me, for me right now. This, I'm confirming the facts here of the property. Actually, I'm not gonna confirm them because I have to, yeah, I have to go in and change it. So this is gonna be 4 bedrooms. So whatever you enter here, it's gonna override the default. Whatever you enter on the right is gonna override the default on the left. I think that's the only thing I'm gonna change. Confirm, facts, and close. Okay, so now find comps. Let's see. I wonder if it's gonna have anything there. I have to do the search. 4 bedrooms. Here it says going from 800, 1800 to 3100. It's gonna pull up more than I need, but
It has only the last 3 months.
let's go. Last 6 months. Then 1800. No, I'll leave that in there, see what comes up. No price range, I'm gonna leave that alone. Lot size, that's fine. Let's do search. This was built in 1973, so that's fine. And I know that the area, because I know the area. It's here, this area here. So these are the comps that I want to use, this one. Right. This is, sorry. This is as well. Sorry. And then let's see what this one is. It's also in the neighborhood. This is smaller. And then the price is like way lower, so we don't want to use that. Okay, so I selected the ones I want to use for the CMA. And then, let's see here, what do I do next? Evaluation closed. I don't want to adjust the comps, I'm good. I'm going to create the report. So with seller's report selected, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, personalize it. Let's see. I don't know, let's do John Smith. We always do John Smith, so let's just do John Smith. And display now, we want a PDF of it, and then click on run report. Now we wait. And if you guys are watching the recording, you can go back, rewind it, and watch if you missed something along the way. If you notice up here, it says that one report is it ready. Boom, there you go. Let's open it. Download report. So this is what this report looks like. There's a lot of pages in here, a little more for my liking, but it's got your contact information. It has a picture of the front of the property. This might not look this way anymore, but that's what it looked like before. Map. The refined value, this is based on their system, and this is based on the comps. See how our comps come closer to this? That the price we came up with? All right, and then home facts, extended home facts, pictures of the property. This is of the subject property, historical photos, okay. Seller's report. Okay. Information about the owner, seller's report, what are we looking at here? Sales and finance activity. There's a little more information that, you know, that you want to use, but if you want to use this, you can pull out the pages that you want to use. A lot of graphs and charts. There's some people, some homeowners that are a little more engineer minded, and they're gonna like graphs and charts and everything. So if you want to use this, you can use this. This is another option. So I just showed you 3 different ways to create a CMA based on the data on the search results. Which one do you guys like the best from all 3 of them?
Wow.
Yeah, what about you guys at home? Are you still awake? Gary, which one are you gonna use?
What?
Carrie. I don't know, we lost Carrie. All right. So any questions on this? Another thing you can do with this is if you don't want to do the PDF of it, I like to print out a PDF, I like to print it out for myself and a copy for the owner. So I'm not sitting next to them like flipping through the pages like, oh, here, you know, like reading on them. So if you go to page 4, you'll see blah, blah, blah. If you go to page 5, and I see what they're seeing. But if you want to take your laptop or a tablet, you could do a live CMA. You click on that link there. You guys saw that, right? There's a PDF and then there's a live view. And this is what the live view looks like. It is. So, I guess we start the presentation down here on the bottom right corner. And then that's about me, about the company. So you're gonna have to customize this, personalize it. What's a CMA? What is the MLS? What, I didn't even say anything here. Comps, here's the comps, side by side. Side by side to the property as well, the subject property. And then if you click on it, you can pull up the pictures. Scroll through. And then the next page is average pricing. You can explain all this to them, average price per square foot. Average days on market, and then how much over or under the list price is sold. It's 15,600. How accurate? Okay. I don't think this is correct. It was way off by a lot more.
200,000.
Yeah. So you can use this. I don't like to use this. It's just, it's too much. But it's up to you. You have the option to use either.
So what would you price it at? Looking at all this, I know.
I'd have to look at the property.
Yeah.
So if the property wasn't original, if they had like more, I guess, upgraded kitchen cabinets and wood floors and not carpet throughout the house, I priced it like the last one that was on the market, maybe, I don't know, 20,000 over, 25,000 over. And then go from there.
What if they, I mean, they upgraded everything, like everything's brand new.
So this is,
And you're gonna set the market yourself probably.
so right before I came in and into the meeting room here, I asked Rich, if someone did upgrades, added upgrades to their property, and they spent like $100,000, what percentage of that can you increase the price on the property? Like, what would you think? It's like, well, there's no formula, but I would say you'd probably get about 50% of it back. So if you added $100,000 of upgrades, maybe $40,000-$50,000, so you know, you can increase the price by $40,000-$50,000. Listing I had that you went to, it was about between $200,000 and $300,000 worth of upgrades, and they thought they were gonna get that one, all of them. But it's what the market says that it's worth, right? You can't just say, I'm gonna price it $300,000 over market or $400,000 over market. And I'm gonna get that because everything is new and I spent $300,000. It doesn't work that way. So you can increase it above the most recent sale, but not by what you spent. There's no way. You still have to go based on what the market says. So here, based on this, I would say, what's the price that we came up with on the highest sale?
Around like 1.7.
So 1.7, I don't know, 1.799. I think that'd be a good price. There's not gonna be like an exact, you know, like exact science to this. But we're better than Zillow's estimate and the AVRs that all these websites have, because we actually have evidence to support it. And we can also, I guess, base it on upgrades or how original it is, or permits versus no permits, and is this gonna be hard to sell because you did something to the house and there's no permits to it? And maybe someone might not wanna pay that price because there's no permits, so there's a lot that goes into it. But I think this is better than, again, than the automated systems. And then another thing that, what appraisers do is they look at properties within a mile. And they also look to see any properties that sold outside the MLS. Right, so there might be a sale somewhere in this neighborhood, they sold like $200,000 below what the market is. That we don't know about because it was never in the MLS. It was an off-market transaction, but the appraiser is gonna use that. And that might bring the value down when they're appraising it. But we can only go based on what we see in the MLS. Any questions?
I think the appraisers used to go back 6 months, is that still the case?
Yes. Yeah. And if they can't find any comps, they might go out even further. And then, so here's another thing, is that you might get a listing in an area like Santiago Canyon or something, or somewhere where homes are all way different. You're not gonna find a similar type home, or, you know, same lot size or same living area size. So then you're gonna use the price per square foot. That's where that comes in. Because when you have, let me see if I can pull something up like that. Let's look for homes in Santiago Canyon. Because they're all different. This is Silverado Canyon. Okay. So,
Those houses.
yeah. So this one's, you know what, let's add one more criteria to it. Let's make 3 bedrooms. 11. Show results. I'm gonna go by square footage here, so we can use, let's use this for these first 3, 4. Let's use this first 3 here. Look at the price difference 315, 785, 7, that just doesn't make any sense, right?
Built in nineteen
How
thirty.
long was it on the market?
Yeah, that's a long time. I've seen this one before.
Yeah.
There, yeah, I think because there's something that, there was a lot of work that had to be done in this one.
Whoa,
Yeah, let's not use this one. Let's use this one. This is 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bath, 1,100 square feet. The lot's 4,200. And let's use this one. It's pretty close. The price per square foot here is that 650? And this one's 701. So we can use an average of those. What is it, 675? So if I'm trying to value or list the property, I can either multiply this square footage times this price per square foot, average per square foot times the square footage. Or if it's on the lower end where it's probably not as upgraded, I can use this number. No, not that one, the other one. Or I can just use what's in between, right, the average. So 675 times whatever the square footage is. And again, we'd have to look at the condition of the properties on the inside. That actually looks pretty nice from the
That's
inside.
pretty. Yeah, serious.
Okay, show us the inside, come on. Wait,
And chicken.
I gotta see this, because I built the chicken coop for my wife. For her chickens, not mine's better than that.
How many chickens? do you have?
4. Okay, this is nice. I like it. Okay, so anyway, then you'd use a price per square foot because no 2 homes are the same there. And you might have to go out a little further, in certain situations, but yeah, there's times where you can use the price per square foot, method. But I think that's everything for today. Anybody at home have any questions? Okay, I don't hear anything, so I'll assume not. Next week, we have Rosie Poole with First American Home Warranty coming in. She's gonna talk about, the importance of a home warranty and, how to order the home warranty and what's included with certain things and, yeah, that should be pretty good. She tells you what home warranty covers, what it doesn't cover, and she goes in depth as to, what the services are. So I will see you guys next week.
Thanks, Carlos.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Have a good one.
too.
Bye.